A former U.S. Army officer is blowing the lid off Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky's 20-point peace formula. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis made a stunning analysis of Zelensky's anti-Russia peace plan. Davis, in his deep dive video, said Zelensky's peace plan may be dead on arrival. Davis revealed poison pills inside Zelensky's plan that may further complicate peace efforts. He calls it a diplomatic trap that could derail any hope of peace. According to Davis, one proposal is an absolute red line for Moscow, a non-starter that Russia will never accept. Davis lists 4 explosive poison pills inside Zelensky's proposal. Number 1, 800,000 in Ukraine's post-war army, something Moscow sees as a permanent military threat. Number 2, US and EU Article 5-like security guarantees, a NATO-like shield for Ukraine that Russia fiercely rejects. Number 3, Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant split between parties, the largest nuclear facility in Europe. And number 4, the current line of contact will be the future border between Russia and Ukraine, locking Russia and Ukraine into a frozen conflict forever. Davis says these terms would make any deal politically impossible for Moscow.
So those are the 4 points that are pretty much non-negotiable out of these 20. Then there are 3 points that are not in here, which are also major problems that are non-negotiables for the Russian side as well, that must be included or there won't be a deal. Number 1 is there is no mention about neutrality, non-aligned status, and nothing about NATO membership. There has to be an explicit denunciation of NATO. There has to be, we will be neutral and non-aligned. That's a non-negotiable that Putin has said from 2024 all the way through. Actually, I think even back into the Istanbul in 2022. He said that's just non-negotiable because that is the security as Russia sees it on their western flank. And they're simply not going to agree to anything that has even the possibility of NATO membership later. First of all, Ukraine will end up being a sovereign state. Russia agrees to that. Obviously, Ukraine wants that. A non-aggression term, peace agreement will be part of this between Russia and Ukraine. Both sides agree to that as well. Neither side wants to worry about having a war. Both sides say once this is over with, they don't want to have to worry about the next war. The definitions are important again, but that is an outcome that both sides agree to. Security guarantees depends on the definitions of security guarantees. From the Russian side, that means our security also has to be guaranteed. And so far, the West has only been talking about guarantees against Russia for Ukraine. So that would have to be pretty much, I almost put that one in the other category, but at least categorically, the Russians have said security guarantees as a title is something that they're interested in. Point number 7, EU membership. That's something also that Putin has said, even in recent months, they can live with that. They can go with that. They're somewhat concerned about that because the EU has kind of become an armed operation instead of just an economic one that it used to be. But they can probably live with that, again, depending on the terms. Now, I'm not so sure that one's good for the European Union. I'm not so sure that they actually want Ukraine, this, which was already prior to this war, the most corrupt country in all of Europe. And of course, it's only been put on hyperdrive now, and it's as bad as it can even be imagined, like on levels that was in the Afghan war, which was horrific. So I'm not sure that that's something that Europeans will want. We'll see how eager they are once this thing gets resolved.
This bombshell lands just hours before the high-stakes Zelensky-Trump meeting, a meeting that could shape the future of the war, now nearing 4 brutal years. The question now echoes, is Zelensky's peace plan a real roadmap to peace or a blueprint for permanent war? And can Donald Trump really succeed where global diplomacy has failed? The world is watching.
Yes, we are currently on a flight to Florida, the United States. On the way, we will make a stop in Canada. I will have a meeting with Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney. Together, we plan to speak online with European leaders. We will go through all the issues, provide updates, and exchange details of the documents that I will be discussing with the President of the United States. And of course, among all these details, you know which issues are sensitive. All of these issues will be raised.
In a stark warning ahead of a critical showdown, President Donald Trump has declared himself the final authority over any peace deal between Ukraine and Russia. Speaking exclusively to Politico, Trump delivered a chilling message to Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky just days before their expected meeting in Florida. He doesn't have anything until I approve it. 8 words, a clear signal, and a reminder of who now holds the leverage. Zelensky is arriving with a new 20-point peace plan, described by Ukrainian officials as 90% ready. The proposal includes a demilitarized zone, discussions on U.S. security guarantees, control of the Donbas region, and the future of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant.
We have a broad agenda, and it will be over the weekend. I think that on Sunday in Florida, I will be meeting with U.S. President Donald Trump. We will be discussing these documents, as I said. Security guarantees, there are several documents in this block, and it would be desirable to find an opportunity to discuss them all. Next is the economic agreement. There are some basic developments there, although there will be several agreements, and we need to discuss the direction here. I don't know. I can't say right now whether anything will be finalized by the end. The purpose of this meeting is to finalize as much as we can, and whether the territorial issues will be discussed, all the issues on which we have questions and disagreements, our side will definitely raise them. To be honest, the 20-point plan we have been working on is 90% ready. Our task is to make sure that everything is 100% ready. It is not easy, and no one is saying that it will be 100% ready right away. But nonetheless, we must bring the desired result closer with every such meeting, with every such conversation.
But Trump isn't rushing to endorse it. Instead, he's making it clear, nothing moves forward without his sign-off. The comments underline a growing reality. Ukraine's future may now hinge on persuading Trump that enough has been conceded. Behind the scenes, Washington has already been pressing Kyiv to soften its original demands, and Trump, at times, has shown little patience for prolonged negotiations, even appearing willing to lean toward Moscow if it brings the war to an end. Russia, meanwhile, has barely budged. Moscow has shown no interest in Zelensky's proposal, continuing to demand full control over Donetsk, while Ukraine insists any demilitarized zone must include a Russian withdrawal.
You mentioned contacts between representatives of the Russian and U.S. administrations on the orders of Russian President Vladimir Putin after analyzing the document brought by Russian presidential aide Kirill Dmitriev. Can you say what these documents are? How does the Kremlin assess them, and at what level did these contacts take place?
I cannot disclose this to you. We still believe that currently spreading this information could negatively impact the negotiation process. Hence, there was such a telephone contact. We decided to continue the dialogue. This is the only thing we can say.
Information was published about Putin's meeting with business sector. In particular, it mentions the issue of exchanging territories with Ukraine and joint management of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant with the Americans. Have you seen this material, and how would you comment on it?
In general, the discussions touched on themes that have been repeatedly raised in Western media and by the Kyiv regime regarding the peace settlement process. These topics were mentioned and discussed. The media has broadly represented this topic in various ways. Therefore, these topics were mentioned.
Who facilitated the contacts between Moscow and Washington from the president's administration and from the White House?
I can say that from the president's administration, these were high-ranking individuals.
And from the White House side?
There were several interlocutors.
The gap remains vast. Still, Trump insists the meeting could be productive. "I think it's going to go good with him," he said. "I think it's going to go good with Putin." The president added he expects to speak with Vladimir Putin soon, signaling renewed direct engagement between Washington and Moscow. Trump also pointed to mounting pressure inside Russia. Their economy is in tough shape, very tough shape. For Zelensky, the stakes could not be higher. This meeting may define not just the next phase of diplomacy, but whether Ukraine's vision for peace survives at all. Because now, by Trump's own words, nothing is real, nothing is final until he approves it.